I gotta get started on this tie rod replacement. As you saw in the last video, it was in really bad shape. That is some hardcore play. So I think I'll do that first. That should be relatively quick if things go smoothly. They probably won't, but you know, I'm hopeful. So let's lift her up. Safety first. Okay, so we gotta take this nut off, and we gotta take off the top nut. And hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, this will just slide right out and I'll be able to spin it off. Let's see if it's gonna be cooperating. There you go, wasn't too bad. Then we gotta knock this guy out. There you go, come to Papa. Here she is. I guess we can also just do this. That should be pretty tight. Okay, time to do some stuff I've never done before. Here, I'm actually gonna be stripping away the paint. Only one of the tabs broke off. I call that a success. Okay, here goes nothing. Like I said, no idea what I'm doing here.
While I'm doing this, why don't you leave a comment and make a guess at how much I'm going to sell this car for. Obviously it's not going to be a lot, but I am going to reveal the price at the very end of this video, so stick around, drop a like, and subscribe if you like this content. It's very easy for you to do, and it also makes a huge difference for me, so please and thank you.
This is really turning out relatively decent. Nope. Take a look at how the hood turned out. It has not been polished yet. I haven't gone over it with a compound, but paint matching isn't awful. It's definitely not perfect. This looks a little darker on the fender here than the hood, but it's honestly not too bad. Definitely the clear coat isn't perfect. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's a little bit of like streaking going on, but significantly better than it used to be. Once again, I never expected this to be perfect. I just wanted it to be a little better, and it is. It's a lot better, I would say. Compared to like the roof, this stuff is obviously a lot more noticeable than this. First thing I want to work on today here is the wheel speed sensor. If you remember, this is what it looked like when I pulled it out. It was just kind of seated in there, but obviously not doing anything because it's just completely broken off here. And I also have to resurface these wheels. Obviously, I can't in good conscience try and sell it like this. Plus, it would hurt the value more than anything. So, yeah, this is going to be a pain in the butt. It's completely sheared off. Things are getting heated. Just get out of there. There you go. Come on. You're so close. Just little chunks. It won't come out together. There you go. Whew. This looks very familiar. This guy right here. So let's just connect that. So I was just trying to feed it from the bottom, and now, see that hole? Somewhere in there is our connector. So based on my depth and space perception and whatnot, the hole at the bottom of the car is somewhere around here. So when I start pushing the wire through, it goes in there. Maybe I can use this hook to try and fish it out. Okay, so I'm just pushing in all the wire from the bottom, as much of it as I can, to the point where it hopefully extends far enough that I can access it through the hole. You guys probably saw that before me. So while I have this wheel off, I might as well try and fix this insane curb rash. No, funny if I just dropped it on this fresh, beautiful paint. We have both wheels on. This is the one that had a really bad tire and was replaced. I spray painted them awfully, but that's about as much as this car deserves realistically in terms of its value. She's a good girl, but unfortunately she's not worth a lot, and it's not worth putting in that much work to do things very properly, as you've seen. Anyway, I sanded down all this stuff. I tried to save the paint, only send off clear coat, and I realized it was just not feasible. Same on the roof and this quarter panel, same on the other side. So all this is now sanded down a little more, somewhat taped off. Yeah, this paint can is a bit too generous. We're completely out of paint now, and this is the current result. This is definitely the sketchiest masking job of all time. But we're now waiting for the paint to dry. As you can see, it's not amazing, but I think a lot of this I'll be able to take off with sandpaper. The roof is now painted black, and honestly I'm happier with these results than I am with those. I think it's just the quality of the spray nozzles. I think I'm just gonna have to leave it like this because I still have to apply clear coat to it. So it's gonna sit like this for a day or two. Oh well, hopefully my neighbors can deal with it. So now, a few days later, I'm gonna go over the paint with 2000 grit sandpaper. Could be better, could be worse, I suppose. Can't even see the difference between the two paints. This is OEM base coat, and this is the base coat that I applied. I don't see a line. Oh, actually, no, I do. There's a line right here. Problem with the trunk is that it was extremely uneven. Totally on me. I messed this one up pretty bad. Oh, God, this is hideous. I needed to sand it down more. In my defense, I was running out of sandpaper. Alright, so I've already been working on polishing the car. I sanded everything down. I also still need to wash this. I figured I'd show you a comparison. So this is after the car being sanded down with a 1500 grit. And then this line is post polish. Obviously significantly better, but this is basically as good as it's gonna get. This is pretty much the finished product, which is clearly very far from great, but I think it's still better than it used to be. Okay, let's dry it and see how bad our paint work is. Well, I think it looks pretty nice from up here. The closer you get, the worse it gets. Yeah, basically quite a bit of spots that need some extra polishing, like right there. The roof, well, as you can see, far from great, but yeah, that's it. It's just far from great. I think we did okay. I genuinely think that for a $3,000 car. Ooh, still do have some creaking in the suspension. Just listen to that. Okay, so we're not ready to sell yet. Control arms, perhaps? We have to do some more work. There you go. And here goes the control arm. As you can see, this bushing is completely shot. That should not be happening. It's like a glove. That's just about it, maybe a little higher. So now we can go tighten those. Okay, all this is now tight. So I tightened up both of those bushings. We're still at right height. And next I noticed that this link right here, the sway bar end link, is has some pretty worn out bushings too. So let's change that. And that's the good thing about buying this kit. It has everything you would need: lower, upper control arms, the sway bar end link, and the tie rod end. That's basically all you have here, short of the strut. Let's do a little squeak check. I think it might be gone. And now, just to finish things up, I'm installing the accessory belt tensioner and the belt itself. As you remember, it was a little too shiny for my liking, and I knew it wouldn't last too long, so I kind of want to replace it just to be safe. And as it happens, I also have the buyer for this car already lined up, and he's planning to be here within the hour, so hopefully, if everything goes well, I should be able to have this all wrapped up by the time he gets here. Shouldn't be too hard of a job. So first we gotta release the tension. The belt is off. I also don't know if it's possible to remove this belt without removing the AC belt. I'm actually starting to think that maybe you have to remove the AC belt first. The tensioner you can see right up top. It's just held in by three 13mm bolts. That's what I'm taking out right now. Here we go. This is the old tensioner. So this guy is saying that you can't even do it without it taking off the bumper.
Okay, this is going to be really hard. Okay, so what I'm trying to achieve here, here's the tensioner for the AC belt. The bolt that releases the tension is right around where my finger ends. You're not going to be able to see that. There's no way. So I'm trying to get this little Allen key right into there, which is very, very hard to do. You can kind of bend these AC lines away. I don't know, maybe they're transmission fluid lines. I'm not sure. I think we loosened it. There you go. We gotta try and slide this belt off of it. Okay. And hopefully we can move this belt away from the crank. Okay, I took it off the crankshaft. And now we should be able to get the accessory belt off. By the way, the AC belt is in good shape. It looks like it was recently replaced, so I'm not going to be replacing that. Now it's going to be even harder than this, putting the new belt on. It would be real helpful if I wasn't getting all this crud in my face. My eyes, my ears. There's stuff everywhere. Oh, God. Oh. Okay, so after rinsing my eyes out, I'm still not 100%, but I think I'm good enough to get this done, hopefully. So I think the AC tensioner is in the way of the accessory belt, and that's the only thing that's holding us back. Ta-da! Finally. Okay, let's just make sure that this belt here is the same size. Okay, beautiful. And now let's try and do that in reverse. Once again, I'm gonna slide it onto the crank first, since that is the hardest spot. Or I can push those AC lines out of the way again. The crank pulley is right over here. And as you can see, it has two spots for a belt, one for the accessory belt, one for the AC belt, right here. So right now, the outer one is for the AC belt, so I need to slide this onto the other side, which isn't so easy because the tensioner for the AC belt is in the way, and I am not able to really show that to you guys. I think the buyer for this car is already here, so we failed at our task of changing the belt quickly. So I decided to get this belt installed because I just got it delivered and I wanted you to have a nice fresh new belt. Okay, so this task took around 20 minutes of just sliding it in between the tensioner and the pulley, but eventually we got it. It really helped having one person on top, thanks KJ, pulling it into place as I'm pulling it into the bottom, and eventually we were able to get it on. Alright, well, both belts are on. Can't see much, but here's the new tensioner. All three bolts are torqued down, and the last and most satisfying step is pulling that grenade pin. Take the tension off of the pin so that it's easier for it to come out, and then use these pliers to pull the pin out. There you go, here goes the pin, and slowly put the tension back. Yeah, the belt seems to be in all the right spots. Everything looks good. So here we go. Without putting the car into service position, I didn't touch the bumper. I was able to get this done in about an hour and 15 minutes. I don't know, how long have I been out here? An hour 30? Something like that. Oh no. Okay, now both belts are exactly where they're supposed to be on all pulleys. I had realized that the AC belt was slightly off of the compressor pulley, but I was able to just push it into its place, and everything looks good. Start her up, making sure everything's spinning properly. Right here, alternator belt, obviously the fan. Going around that power steering pump, we're on the pulleys just like we should be. The tensioner is properly aligned, definitely looks well. And then the AC belt down there. So that pulley over there right by the compressor is where I noticed that the belt was slightly getting off of its rails, and I was able to just push it on. Now let's grab the keys. This is the key. Fingers crossed. Okay, I think it sounds better than it used to. Oh yeah, spinning super nice. So that gentleman in the Boxster is the one who is buying this car. He has family overseas that will be visiting for like a month, and they could use a mode of transportation, so he wanted something cheap. So we're taking it back to his house right now. Hopefully we make it. It will make for some great content, and if it don't and the car breaks down, I don't think that's gonna happen. I mean, I seem to have gone through the car pretty well. It seems to be in decent shape, but you never know. As you can see, she's doing 80 pretty easily. Even the windshield washer fluid light went away. I see no issues at all. Okay, she made it. Get your last look at this beauty. So as you can see, the paint work, I mean, it turned out okay. It's not great, it's not perfect, but it's perfectly okay. And yeah, the suspension is still making some noises. I suspect it's the lower control arms too making the noise, but outside of that, it seems to be doing pretty good. Didn't get any lights on dash. Everything engine-wise is good. Engine and transmission. So drivetrain is good. One of the bushings on the suspension, I guess, is still worn out. It has to be one of the bottom ones because everything else has been changed, and I definitely hear it coming from this side. So, oh well, I hope the new owner doesn't mind that too much. Plus, since he knows me, he'll be able to bring it by, and I'll swap out those control arms for him because we do have all the parts still. They're included with the sale, and he'll be able to bring it back, and I will swap out those lower control arms. From the purchase to the sale, wasn't too much work. I think I spent a total of maybe about 20 hours on this. The paint work definitely took the longest. I will try and stay away from cars that need paint work. That just was a lot of work. I wish I was just, swapping out suspension parts and boost hoses, and that's it. But in this case, we tried a little more, and I guess it turned out all right. We made about $700 on this, which is not ideal. I do try and shoot for at least $1,000 profit, but because he was a good friend, I knocked off the price and sold this for $2,500 instead of $3,000, which is what I was planning to sell it for. And that's it. I'll see you at the next car.